From the best matches to generational heel turns and one of the cleverest cash-ins in WWE history. I'm Chris Apples from Aussie Cousins Wrestling, and these are the 10 best moments of the year in the WWE so far. If you love wrestling just as much as us Aussies, hit that subscribe button and let us know what you think should have made this list for the first 6 months of the year. Number 10, Gunther destroys Jimmy Uso. Gunther's feud over the World Heavyweight Championship with Jey Uso wasn't exactly going well. Jey Uso had a shocker of a night in Belgium, and it needed something to really spark it into life. And that just happened to be Gunther's match against Jimmy Uso on the 31st of March episode of Raw. Gunther had beaten Jimmy relatively comfortably and continued the beatdown after the match. With Jey out there to help his brother, Gunther scarpered, and that was that. Until Gunther destroyed the two of them from behind and tied Jey Uso to the bottom rope with a cable tie. He then proceeded to beat the life out of Big Jim in front of his twin, who could do nothing to stop him. The sight of Jimmy's face, bloodied and battered, really gave this feud the fire it needed. While the match was then a divisive one, this feud ended up being one of the best leading into WrestleMania, and it all turned around with the Big Austrian's viciousness. Number 9, Joe Hendry answers Randy Orton's open challenge. Another moment that stemmed from one of the worst moments of the year. Randy Orton was left without an opponent at WrestleMania after Kevin Owens shockingly announced he was headed for neck surgery. All Randy could do was issue an open challenge for anyone to answer. But as the crowd waited in red-hot anticipation, we hear those words ring out,
"Say his name and he appears. I believe in Joe Hendry."
That's right, the TNA World Champion Joe Hendry walks down the ramp at WrestleMania, and really could it have been anyone else? The match was just 3 minutes of them going through their hits, including Hendry doing his patented spin straight into the RKO. And I think you can forgive the big Scotsman for smiling while he was being beaten. Number 8, Dominic Mysterio wins the Intercontinental title. WrestleMania Night 2 was a substantially better night of the two of them, and this match was outstanding. Bron Breakker, Penta, Finn Balor and Dominic Mysterio all chasing the Intercontinental title. The build may have relied too much on DQ finishes, but when the bell rang, these four turned it into chaos with a purpose. Non-stop action, near falls and friendships tested. And just when Finn hit the coup de grace on Bron and thought the match was his, Dom flies in out of nowhere with a frog splash and steals the win from his own Judgment Day teammate. The crowd went unhinged. The most hated man in WWE got one of the biggest pops of the night. Dominic Mysterio, the Intercontinental Champion, he even celebrated it twice. And for once, nobody was booing. Number 7, Becky Lynch turns heel on Lyra Valkyria. After Bayley was mysteriously attacked backstage at WrestleMania, Lyra Valkyria needed a new partner for her Tag Team Championship match against the Judgment Day. Would it be Becky Lynch? Or maybe Becky Lynch? Or could it be a returning Becky Lynch who would be the partner of Lyra Valkyria? The Irish duo went on to win the Tag Team titles that night and then defended them against the Judgment Day the following night on Raw, where they would go on to lose them straight back to Raquel and Liv. And while Becky and Lyra lingered in the ring, the crowd wondered who would turn on the other. And it was the more experienced Becky who snapped at the then IC title holder, finally unleashing a heel turn that would actually work for her character this time. The feud that has followed, with Lyra and a returning Bayley, has been one of WWE's most layered stories all year. Number 6, the debut of Penta. You want to talk about an entrance that shook WWE? Enter Penta. In just the second episode of Raw in 2025, the pyro hit, the lights went wild, and the crowd erupted as the masked madman from Mexico made his WWE debut. And who better to go toe-to-toe with than the technician himself, Chad Gable? These two tore it up in a hard-hitting, athletic showcase, but it wasn't just the in-ring work that left a mark. Penta grabbed the mic afterward and dropped a fiery promo in Spanish and English that made one thing clear: this guy gets it. He had the crowd in the palm of his glove-covered hand. Since then, he's been racking up more wins than most in the roster, while floating between the mid-card and the main event scene like they absolutely trust him. And if you ask Penta, he'll tell you he has zero fear, but he has full support for Aussie Cousins Wrestling, so just like Penta, you should help us out by subscribing to our channel and liking this very video. Number 5, the tables, ladders and chairs match. The Smackdown tag division is one of the most stacked in all of wrestling, wrestling, and they are regularly featured every week. So then obviously they would have a banger at WrestleMania, right? Well, for some reason, the Street Profits didn't get to defend the WWE Tag Team titles on the grandest stage of them all, and were forced into a triple threat match for the titles against DIY and Motor City Machine Guns on the following week's Smackdown. And the 6 of them wrestled like they had something to prove. There were weapons all over the place, including a fan's prosthetic leg, which was taken out of the crowd. Montez Ford chucked his entire body at everything that moved, including a blockbuster onto the waiting pack below. Angelo Dawkins also launched himself from the top of a ladder into Tommaso Ciampa like a human missile while he was dangling from the belts. But when the dust settled, Montez Ford climbed that final rung and pulled down the gold for the Street Profits in what might just be SmackDown's best match of the year so far. Number 4, Io Sky retains in a match of the year contender. WrestleMania Night 2 kicked off with a bang. 3 of the best in the business, Io Sky, Rhea Ripley, and Bianca Belair, clashed in a triple threat match that had classic written all over it before the bell even rang. Rhea and Bianca treated Io like a third wheel heading in, but once the match got going, oh, they would remember her name. The pace was relentless, the hits were brutal, and Bianca literally broke her finger mid-match and just kept on going because she is the toughest in the game. Down the final stretch, Io got slammed into the ring post and looked done. Bianca blocked the riptide, whipped out the braid, nailed Rhea with a KOD, but forgot one thing. Io Sky was in position to get airborne. One perfectly timed over the moonsault later, and Io pins Bianca to retain in what was undoubtedly the best match of WrestleMania weekend and maybe the entire year. Number 3, Jade Cargill returns to destroy Naomi at Elimination Chamber. Now this was an opening straight out of a Hollywood thriller. The 2025 Elimination Chamber in Toronto kicked off with Naomi and Liv Morgan starting the match, but suddenly Jade Cargill's music hit and the crowd goes insane in anticipation, knowing a storm was coming. Jade hadn't been seen since November when she was mysteriously attacked and taken out, and Naomi had framed Liv Morgan as the culprit, but Jade knew exactly who had injured her and took it all out on her former Big Three friend. Liv just backed off in terror while Jade obliterated Naomi, leaving her laid out as Bianca Belair did everything she could to bash the panels of her pod down. The chamber match itself was excellent. When people call wrestling cinema, this is one moment that can define the term. Number 2, Tiffany Stratton cashes in the Money in the Bank. Tiffany Stratton loved the spotlight in late 2024, but never pulled the trigger on a Money in the Bank cash-in. That all changed on the very first Smackdown of 2025, as Nia Jax had barely survived a title defense against Naomi. The ringside was a chaotic scene thanks to Bianca Belair and Candice LeRae, and it felt like Tiffy time had finally arrived when her music hit. But instead of cashing in straight away, Tiffany blindsided Naomi, helping put her in position for an annihilator. Nia Jax, proud of the assist from her friend Tiffany, tossed Bianca Belair out and stood tall beside Miss Money in the Bank and Candice LeRae, until she made one fatal mistake. She turned her back. Tiffany cracked her with the briefcase. Bianca returned to hit a picture-perfect KOD for revenge on Nia, and then with the crowd on the edge of their seats, Tiffany cashed in her contract, launched herself into the air, and nailed the prettiest moonsault ever. And just like that, Tiffany Stratton outplayed everyone. The briefcase was gone, but the era of the Tiffy title had just begun. And number 1, John Cena's heel turn at Elimination Chamber. It was the final twist in a night already full of insanity, and it might be the most shocking heel turn WWE has pulled off in years. Elimination Chamber in Toronto saw John Cena and CM Punk outlast 4 other warriors to go head to head in the final stretch. Then a disaster for Punk. Seth Rollins came back in and stomped Punk's skull through the steel and handed Cena the win. John Cena was headed to WrestleMania, but the story was just getting started. Out came Cody Rhodes to congratulate him before The Rock, and for some reason Travis Scott, came out to remind Cody that the Great One wanted his soul. And in a promo we'll be quoting for years, Cody uttered, "Hey Rock, go f*** yourself." Cena, who had been grinning ear to ear, pulled Cody in for a hug, and with a weird signal from The Rock, he snapped. It was like flipping a switch. He destroyed Cody. The biggest good guy in wrestling, the face of the company for 2 decades, had turned his back on everything. In that moment, John Cena gave us the start of his final unforgettable chapter as a full-blown villain selling his soul to The Rock, even if the following few months haven't exactly lived up to that initial hype. If you enjoyed that, smash the like button and drop a comment with your favorite WWE moment this year, especially something we completely missed. And don't forget to subscribe to Aussie Cousins Wrestling for more of that down under charm to your WWE content. And because you've been so fantastic to watch this video, I'll put up the top 10 worst moments of 2025 on the screen right now, and trust me, it's a wild ride.